Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael. I'm going to be your host for round about the next hour or so. Today we're looking at Copilot. It's been around for a little while, Copilot now, so been around for the last few versions. So we're going to run through that and tell you what it's all about. Some of you may be familiar with Copilot. You might already be using it. Others, maybe you've not heard of it and possibly seeing the webinar or some sort of email about it as the first you've actually heard about, and you're coming along to see what it's all about today. So hopefully you'll have a good understanding of what it is and how it works, and hopefully how it can benefit you in your day-to-day tasks and processes. Now, before we get stuck into the webinar this morning, I'm just going to quickly run through a little bit of housekeeping, just in case anyone is new to our webinars. So as normal, you don't need a microphone for these sessions, but if you do have one and you've enabled it as you've joined, you will find that your mic is muted automatically, and you can't unmute yourself during the session. Now, that does mean you can't speak to us, but there is a questions panel option where you can submit any comments or questions just by typing them into the box. To access that, you just click your little speech bubble icon, give it a click, it'll expand the panel down the right-hand side of your screen, and then you'll have that box where you can enter any comments or questions. Remember to click send, otherwise we won't see those. That's available to you throughout. There is an opportunity to download a copy of today's handout, which is basically just a copy of the slides. There is loads of information available from our help centre, and I'll be touching on that and where you can find that information once we get started. But if you do want a copy of today's slides, quite a bit to take in, then you can download them during today's session. As normal, we are recording the webinar this morning, and a link to it will be included on your follow-up email, which you'll receive round about an hour after we finish. So if you do need a bit of a recap on anything we cover, maybe you're not quite ready to use Copilot yet, and you think, well, I'll come back to that when I am. Or maybe you think your colleagues might benefit, so you can show them what it's all about. Then you can always share that link with them. That email will also include a link to our registration page. Currently our timetable for our live sessions run up to the end of February. So if you are interested, take a look, see what's available. We've got loads of great sessions coming up. We've got a series on management reports, looking at everything from things like creating nominal codes and the nominal ledger structure, the chart of accounts, the management reports themselves, so building on that all the way through to reconciling your reports. We've also got a series of year-end related topics as well, so how to run the year-end. We've got one of those this afternoon at 1 if you are interested. But we've got a few of those sessions booked in. And we'll also be covering things like company archives, backing up, clearing your audit trail, and also deleting records. So clearing your audit trail and deleting records, kind of things you think about maybe once you've run your year-end. So if you are interested, take a look at that timetable, get yourself registered. They're all free to attend. And there should be a couple of dates of each topic, so giving you that flexibility. If you can't make it, don't worry, we do make the recordings available afterwards as well, and a link to our recordings page will also be included on that follow-up email. So it's a nice, easy way to use and benefit from the webinar service. But do keep those questions and your comments coming if you think of anything along the way. Now let's take a look at what we're actually going to cover in this morning's session. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to Copilot. We'll then run through some demonstrations on the key features. So Copilot Insights, Report with Copilot, the detailed analysis option, and also the most up-to-date feature, the most recently released feature, is payment reminders. So you can do that manually, or you can set it up so it sends them automatically for you, saving you time. That's where I suppose that's where the big benefit comes from. But beyond that, we're going to also discuss how you can get involved and what's next. So once you've started using Copilot, and when features are fairly new, so Copilot's been around for around about 2 years now. Copilot's been available in Sage 50 accounts, still quite early on in the adoption sort of cycle, I suppose. So once you start using it, it's a kind of thing that you think, oh, I wish it could do this, or it doesn't quite work how I like it to. So get involved, let us know. I'm going to show you how you can do that. And then just right at the end, we'll explain a little bit more about the additional support, although we'll be covering some of that early on as well. And if there are any outstanding questions, I'll hang around and try and answer as many of those as I can. If I don't know the answer to your question, we'll just drop you an email later on. Right, so let's get started. Now, before we get started with the demonstrations, I just want to quickly mention a little bit about Copilot and who it's available to and how you go about accessing it. So first of all, you'll have Copilot available to you within your subscription. It's all included as part of your subscription as well. So you would have that if you need to be on version 31.1 or above. If you're not sure about your version, you can just go to help and about within Sage 50 accounts till your version, I think it's the top left corner, your version number. So it needs to start 31.1. You could be on version 32, you could be on version 33. They all have Copilot. The more up to date you are, the more features you're going to have available to you. You also need to be on either the standard level or the professional level of Sage 50 accounts. Again, you can check that within just within help and about. But also you need to be based in the UK, so your license needs to be registered to a UK address, essentially. If you're in Ireland, a Republic of Ireland, you won't be able to access Copilot. It's not available yet. Now, as far as your subscription, included in your subscription for Sage 50 accounts, as long as you meet that criteria, you will be given a one user license. So you need to choose who that license is allocated to. So by default, it would need to be manager who sets it up, but then you can reallocate that license if required. But additional licenses can be added. There currently would be a charge for that. But you are given, and it's included in your subscription, that one user license, just so you can give it a go and see how it works and is it right for you. Now, as far as setting it up is concerned, really straightforward. Not a lot to tell you as far as setup is concerned. We're having a look at sort of this software in a moment as well. But there's loads of help and support to get you up and running, to get you on the latest version of Sage 50 accounts as well, which currently is version 33. Now, you might not be aware of that because it was released quite late on in the year. So I think towards the end of November, it was actually released and made available. So you might not have heard of that yet. If you want to get hold of that, again, there's information about that in our help center. So to access the help center, I'll just quickly share my screen and just give you an idea of what's available. So I'll bring up my browser. We're going to head along to sage.co.uk/help. It will take you to the main Sage Help Center page. And if we scroll down, it will give you a list of products. So choose Sage 50 accounts desktop. And if you go to that page, obviously the help center, hopefully you're familiar with it. You can search for answers, but you've also got what we term these areas here, what we would term a support hub. So we've got a support hub on installation, for instance, managing your taxes, working within the bank area. There's loads of these available. So sort of trying to highlight the key topics within your software. But there's one for Sage Copilot. And when we go into Sage Copilot, it's got the panels that were in the screenshot a few moments ago. So introducing Sage Copilot, how you go about activating it. So actually getting started. It's just an admin task, that one. You would click the Copilot option, and two options at that point. One is going to be, right, do you have a Sage account? If you do, log into it now to activate Copilot. If you don't have a Sage account, it'll guide you through that process. Now, if you've ever set up things like bank feeds before, remote data access, AI document capture, they are all what you would term connected services, and therefore you will already have a Sage account linked to your Sage 50 account software. If you do, it just makes it really, really quick. Otherwise, just a case of following that process through to set up a Sage account, create one there and then, and that'll be it done. And then Copilot will be active. So it's just a case of, if you haven't yet and you can see that Sage Copilot button within your software, I'll show you what those look like in a moment. Then just give it a click and it'll guide you through that process if needed. So in here, as I say, you've got introduction to Sage Copilot, sort of what we're covering today, how you go about switching it on, logging into your Sage account, which I've already mentioned just there. Using Sage Copilot, and these two at the bottom here, report with Sage Copilot and automated payment reminders. So we're going to be covering those two options in the session today. So again, if you want to access this page and follow it through, then just head along to the help center. So sage.co.uk/help. So nice and easy to get at that information. Right, let's head back to the slides for a moment. Now, when Copilot was first introduced, so way back in, seems a long time ago now, so version 31.1, bring up the right slide there. Initially, the feature that you gained with Copilot was what we term the Insights option. Now, Insights are available in 5 key ledgers: customers, suppliers, products and services, nominal codes, and also in the transactions ledger. Now, the idea with Insights is that you'll access them. Ideally, you'd access them quite regularly, probably some of them more than others. We'll obviously have a look at them in a moment. But the idea is it'll open up a panel on your screen there, and it'll provide you with our top level information. So you don't need to go hunting for it. You just click the Copilot option. So Copilot Insights, if you're on version 31.1 or version 32, and if you're on version 33, it will now just say Sage Copilot on that toolbar. So the icon itself has been renamed on the latest version. But Copilot Insights, as I say, they provide you with that top level information, and you can always drill down to find out more about that information if it's if you need that. Now, the insights themselves focus on, I suppose, these 5 sort of core functions within your business. So things like debt management, inventory management, helping you to monitor business performance, anomaly detection, so trying to help you spot processing errors within your software. Also, as you'd probably expect, reporting. Now, we're going to be looking at some of these key themes in a moment. Now, I'm just going to quickly run you through some of the Copilot insights and what's available. I'll show you what that looks like live in the software in a moment as well. So debt management. Now that's available from within your customers ledger. You would, on your toolbar, you would click the Copilot option and it would bring up a panel down the side. Now it's had a recent update in version 33, this one, for the new debt management option with the payment reminders. But this is what it potentially looks like. It gives you access to key information, overdue sales invoices, supporting you with that credit control function. You can obviously drill down into view all the overdue invoices. You might want to generate a view and generate statements. You might just say, well, just remind me later on and I'll do that when I've got time. Maybe invoices approaching the due date. So again, not overdue, not being always in that reactive state, maybe taking a bit more proactive approach to managing your credit control. So maybe those that are maybe due within the next few days. So you've got options. You can drill down and you can view them and you can take action if required. For inventory management, as you'd probably expect, it's all about managing your stock, helping you to stay on top of that, support your business. It's available within the products and services ledger. So it'll break the items down, your stock items, into 3 categories: items that are out of stock, low on stock, or likely to be out of stock soon. So for items that are likely to be out of stock soon, it'll look at your products, the stock levels, and it'll say, right, well, on average, this item is sold this amount of times in per day. Right, do we have enough stock to support that for the next 30 days? If not, it'll highlight that as a one that's likely to be out of stock soon. So it's the idea is if you probably when you first access this, the emphasis will probably be more of a reaction, sort of these items are out of stock, but if you access this regularly, you sort of get ahead of that curve. So it gives you that opportunity to see action, not only the ones that are out of stock, but those that are likely to be out of stock soon. So you can take action prior to being in that position. So timely action to maintain those stock levels. It will also give you the option if you're on the professional level. It will have a seamless integration with the purchase orders ledger if you want to, so you can easily generate that order to purchase or order additional stock. Business performance wise I suppose it's available from all areas because it's all about tracking your performance of your business. But key areas are going to be from within nominal codes and also the customer and supplier ledgers. So it enables you to view, again, top level information for business performance. Customer insights, supplier insights, just business performance. You can view a sales breakdown. It'll enable you to not only view performance for the current month, but it'll compare that to the previous month, the previous period, or the same period from the previous financial year, allowing you to spot those trends and make those comparisons. But again, as you can see from that insight, you are provided with links so that you can start drilling down if you want to get into the detail of that information it provides. Anomaly detection. Now, anything to do with spotting mistakes and processing errors always goes down really well. It gets really well received by all of our users. As you're probably aware, easy to make when you specify the wrong nominal code, tax code. You've keyed something in just incorrectly. So the idea with anomaly detection is it will look at your historic information in Sage 50 accounts and say, right, well, when you've entered this transaction, you access Copilot, actually this one's a bit unusual. It'll look for transactions that have or use an unexpected nominal code, maybe an unexpected tax code. Now, it might just be a one-off transaction, capital expenditure, that type of thing, but otherwise it will look at your transaction amounts and think this is a bit unusual as well, based on your historic information or unexpected VAT amounts. Some people compare this once you start using it to the verification checks that are run when you run the VAT return. But let's face it, you tend to find that most people will only access those VAT verification options when you actually run the VAT return. So that's normally on a quarterly basis, although you can access it at any time. So it's going to try and identify those for you, and it'll list the transactions, enabling you to review them, correct them, or simply say, well, I just ignore that one. That's actually fine. Maybe it is just a one-off type of transaction. So yes, it is a bit unusual, but actually it is valid. So I'm going to quickly play a video for this one. We will go live in just a few minutes, just so you can see it actually we're using these options within the software. But I'm going to play a quick video just on this specific Copilot insight. I'll come back to you live in a couple of minutes.
The Copilot Insight for anomaly detection is all about helping you to improve and maintain the accuracy of your data. We all know it's easy to make a mistake, such as specifying the wrong tax code for a transaction, so anything that helps has got to be positive. The insight helps to identify potential issues, and to keep things simple and streamlined, enables you to easily edit the transaction and make corrections there and then. The Copilot Insight is accessed from the Transactions Ledger. Insights are grouped into nominal codes, tax codes, and amounts. Check Tax Codes shows the number of transactions where the tax codes are different to the usual ones that have been used on the account in the past. Clicking Transactions with Unexpected Tax Codes lists the relevant transactions. If you're working in a specific period, you can easily narrow down the date range by applying a filter rather than working on the default group covering the last 12 months. You can even apply a filter so only specific transaction types appear. You can search within the results and also have the flexibility of exporting the list, for example, if you prefer working in Excel. Each transaction shows the current details and the suggested correction. For added flexibility and speed, you can then action changes there and then. Edit brings up the familiar Edit Transaction window, so if required, you can make the correction there and then. If you've already corrected it outside of the Copilot Insight, simply flag it. Then finally, when a correction isn't required, for example, you've posted a transaction which is a one-off and it's picked up as an anomaly, you can flag to ignore it. As transactions are flagged, they'll be moved to the appropriate tab. If you're a bit too quick and accidentally ignore a transaction, then don't worry, this can easily be undone. The main list can also easily be refreshed at any time, meaning you can quickly ensure you're up to date if other users are currently processing before you close out.
Okay, so that was just one example of the Copilot insights that you've got available. The last one to quickly cover, I'll quickly mention it, is reporting analysis. So again, available from a number of different ledgers within the software. When you access the Copilot insights, it provides, when accessed from within the nominal codes area, for instance, it'll provide key sort of information, things like profit and loss information. Again, you'll be able to sort of drill down to get at that breakdown of information if needed. Now, let's switch across to my screen. We're going to have a quick go of Copilot and so you can see the look and feel of that within the software. So I'll switch to my screen. The one thing I'm going to quickly mention is I'm in version 33 today. So you will be able to, if you access the Help Center, if you haven't got that already, it will guide you through the process of downloading and installing that and obviously upgrading if you want an older version. So I just access this company as an example, and this is something that's been brought into version 33 as essentially a new option to support people's adoption of Copilot. So when I access this company, this one isn't currently linked to Copilot, it's not currently using it. So I just click log on. Now this is only on version 33 yet, you're going to receive this prompt. So when you go into it, just give it a moment, you're going to get this prompt. So this is when you log in as manager. So when you log in, it's going to say, right, do you want to activate Copilot now? Or do you actually just want to give it a go? Now, activating it will let you have a try of that. So you can continue with the trial itself. It means that you can have a go of that without actually fully enabling it if you want. It means that you have a look at it without making essentially any changes. So I'll just close out a few of these messages. You'll also see you'll get this sort of panel, this sort of bar at the top as well, prompting you to try and activate Copilot. So that's on 33. It means you can have a go without making any changes. You can have a bit play around with that and see how it works and what it can provide you with. Now I'm just going to switch to my other company where I already have Copilot activated. Now when you activate Copilot or any other connected services, it will essentially, it does enable 2FA. Now you might already be using this within your software just to sort of make it a bit more secure. So this is where it starts prompting you to use an email address and a password for logging into Sage. So I'm just going to quickly enter mine. So that's me now in Sage 50 accounts version 33 with Copilot enabled. It's already done on this company. So you no longer get that bar at the top saying activated now. It'll just say it's active. A couple of other things you might notice on version 33 is you'll see these what's termed the Copilot sparkle. So you get this little icon next to the ledgers. So it's got the 5 identified where the Copilot insights are available. So if I went into customers, just as an example, you'll see on the toolbar, I've got Sage Copilot. Or again, if you're on a slightly older version, it might just say Copilot Insights. Again, if you haven't activated Copilot yet, when you click it, it will say, right, you need to activate it. Do you want to run through that process now? So you just give it a click. Obviously, I'm in the customers one here. It'll bring up this panel down the right-hand side here. Obviously, you can make it full screen if you want to, move it around your screen. If you've got multiple monitors, you can move it onto that another monitor, that type of thing. So it'll provide you with key information. So this is the one that you would have seen in the on the screenshot from a few moments ago. So we can see the customer insight, the business performance. Again, we've got options to drill down. We've got debt summary, so we've got a debt management option. This is brand new to version 33. This one. Previously, you would have seen outstanding invoices, and then you've got your sales ledger turnover report option as well. So you can easily get at that information. So that's where it's sort of, I suppose, the look and feel of that. So a top level information, and it's going to provide you with that option to sort of move into that area if required. So transactions one that we looked at just on the demo. Again, into the transactions ledger, you've got your Copilot icon at the top there. Give it a click, and for the transactions ledger, it's going to look for the anomalies. So it's telling me, in my case, I've got 78 transactions which using nominal code that are different from usual. So if I wanted to have a look through those, and this is something I would encourage you to access regularly. You know, don't just do it on a quarterly basis where you're coming in and think, oh, I've got loads of corrections to do now. So you can see the transaction, you've got links to the transaction. In this case, this one's a bank payment. It's a hire purchase payment. It's got the date, the value, tells you which potential error is. It's using this nominal code. Actually, it thinks it should be this one. And you've got your list of actions as well. So do I want to edit that transaction? Do I want to just say, well, actually, I've actually done that one now. So maybe in the background, I've gone in, I've corrected that. I'll just flag it as corrected. So we'll just OK that one. Moves it to the appropriate tab. So you've got the to review, ignore, the corrected and ignored. You might find a one that, in this case, this one's gone to 7100. It's thinking, right, should have gone to 7903, that particular transaction. Right, in that one, I can think, well, actually, I'll just edit it. It'll bring up the relevant screen for me. It's suggesting 7903. Is that right or not? Well, let's say actually it's not quite right. So I can always go in and I could change it, you know, to something else if I wanted it to be that. So it'll, as I say, it'll learn from your historic information. So the more you have, the more likely it is to, the accuracy will increase. But makes it easy to do that, and I would encourage you, when you're in here, start accessing that regularly. You don't want to get to the end of a quarter and think, well, let's just spotted some mistakes from like month one of the quarter, and I've actually already done my management reports on that. So access it regularly and stay on top of what it identifies for you. So those are the Copilot insights. As I say, customers, suppliers ledger, products and services, your nominal codes area, and also your transactions area as well. Right, let's head back to the slides then. Again, any questions, or keep them coming. Any comments or questions along the way. If you see something in the background you're not sure, or you want to ask a question, pop them in there. Well, again, I'll try and pick them up as we're running through. But next we're going to go on to sort of, I suppose, the progression. So that sort of timeline of features that have been added into the Copilot. Now, in version 32, when we released that, one of the key changes was the report with Copilot option. So we get loads of queries. Our support line get loads of queries each day on I would like a report that shows this. And they're just basic transaction reports that people are after. We get loads of questions on that. So Report with Copilot attempts to deal with that for you. Now you can access Report with Copilot from any reporting area. So if you're in customers, you go into the reports ledger, you'll have access to Report with Copilot. And it enables you to create customized transaction-based reports, which are based around you. Now, technically, it's based around the audit trail summary, which is basically, essentially, it's your transactions list. So where you've got the transactions list I was just in a moment ago, where it's got the transaction numbers, shows you all the different transaction types, and it has basically all of the detail. Susan, you mentioned there, if you activate Sage Copilot on your computer, will it be active on all computers? No. Remember, as I mentioned, you have a one user license by default. So it's all to do, if you went to another computer and you logged on and the Copilot license was attached to your username, then yes, you would be able to access that. So it's all to do with who has access to it. So it's a single user license that you're provided with by default as part of your subscription. So your colleagues wouldn't necessarily be able to access that if it's allocated to you. Hope that makes sense. So coming back to Report with Copilot. So as I say, it's all about reports that are based around your transactions list. Now, this will design a report for you. So got some examples there. You might think, well, actually, I just want a list of transactions from this year, not using a T1 tax code. That example on the bottom there. So let's have a quick look at that in the software. I'll go back to my desktop, and it doesn't matter which of the ledgers I'm in. So if I went into nominal codes as an example, and as long as I've got the reports option on the toolbar at the top, I can give that a click. Within the reports sort of ledger, as it were, you've got that Sage Copilot at the top there. Now, again, if you're on a slightly older version, that will be called Report with Copilot. So you give it a click. Again, it'll open a panel similar to what we've had for the insights. And just a case of you typing in, what is it you're after? So let's have a list. And it's just a case of you typing in what it is you're after. So I'll just leave it at that, see what it comes back with. So pop your query in, you say, right, well, essentially generate this report for me. So if it doesn't quite understand, or maybe it thinks, actually, I need some more information there, it'll come back with some more queries, just to try and get sort of specific enough so that you will get what you're after. So I'm just going to say confirm at this stage. So it's got a summary of my request. I've typed confirm. And basically at that stage, it's going to try and generate a report for me. And when I say generate a report for me, it's going to be based around the design of a report. Now I'm just going to put today's date in because I do this so often. So it is the 23rd today. I'll just call it that so I can easily identify it, and I'll submit that. Now this is equivalent of me going into the report design and creating a new report, or finding a report and me editing that report to give me exactly what I'm after. So I'll just preview the reports, and it has generated that for me. Now I could have chosen to group those invoices together by, say, customer account. I could have said, right, well, actually what I was after was, I'm after a list of invoices that go to this nominal code. Could have been a list of bank payments, a list of journals. And again, I specify other criteria as well, but I could have, again, groupings in there, could have had subtotals. It's just a case of including that in your request. So if you are using Copilot, you need to be on, I think it's 32.1 to access the report with Copilot option with the subsections, the subtotals. Give it a go. Have a bit play around with that. The worst that can happen is it maybe doesn't quite understand what you're after, and it just keeps asking you a few more questions. But once it has, it saves that report. Now, what that means in the future going forward is, let's say I'm after the same results or the same report. I just access any reporting area. So let's say via customers. I go into reports. Now, any reports that you saved will, or generate that in that way, will automatically be saved to the transactions area because it's based around that transactions list. So all I do is I choose all reports, and then I say, right, it's in the transaction reports area, and specifically it will be in the my transaction reports area. So just a case of me looking for it. So that is today's date, the one I've just created there, the one at the top. So I'll just preview that. In it goes. Depending on what you've asked for as well, you may be prompted then to enter things like date ranges and things like that. But that is a standard report in Sage, and of course, if I needed to, I could highlight that report, and if you wanted to, you could start editing that just by highlighting it, clicking at it. It'll take you into the report designer, so you'll see the design of that report, and you can add filters and extra criteria to your report and move information around and add extra data fields. Entirely up to you. Just depends what you're after. But as I say, we get so many queries on, I just want a list of reports that meet this criteria. So hopefully Report with Copilot will achieve that for you. Right, let's head back to the slides. We'll move on. And I want to quickly mention about in 32.1, the detailed analysis. So this is something that was fed back quite early on when the Copilot Insights were first released. People asking for, well, I want more information surrounding the profit and loss of the balance sheet. I want it in an easy to read format. So this is what I would term almost like a commentary style analysis of your management reports. Rather than just talk about it, I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll get back to my screen. We'll pop into the nominal codes area, which is where this one's available from. Access the Insight option. So just clicking Sage Copilot or Copilot sorry, it would be Sage Copilot, you would need to click there. And then you've got the begin analysis, but this is the newer option, the detailed analysis. So if I choose the profit and loss as an example, now yes, you can go in the nominal codes area and you can get profit and loss at the top. Do you understand it? This one will try and analyze that for you. So choose your period, just like running any other profit and loss. So I'm going to run it up to the end of the financial year on this set of data that I'm using today. Just confirm that. So it'll extract the data, performance analysis. And then that's it done. So it's going to provide analysis more of like almost like a SWOT analysis. If you ever do that, if you've done that, I think if you ever do any financial training, you'd be familiar with that one. So strengths. It's got weaknesses in there as well. It should have weaknesses, and it'll highlight things. It'll tell you, give you a bit of advice on that area as well. So kind of thing that you're looking out for. So in this case, it's telling me, right, obviously it uses your chart of accounts just as it does to produce any P&L. For this period, the strengths, it's in high return on sales, it's got a robust gross margin, positive net income, etc. So again, have a look through that one. So that's a detailed analysis. You do have one for the balance sheet as well. Quick question from Malcolm then. When do you expect Copilot to be available in the Republic of Ireland? I don't have a date for that one, unfortunately, Malcolm. It's one of the reasons sort of we mention on the title of the webinar when you book it that it is UK only, because I just don't have that. We don't know at this stage. Not sure why it's not available, because it's the same, would be the same functionality, but not yet. And I've not heard of any date being banded around for when that will be made available, unfortunately. So just a case of keep an eye on it, watch this space. I'm sure you will be informed. I'm sure you will be once that is approaching that date when it will be added into people's subscriptions. Right, okay, let's go back to the slides. So version 32.1. Now, I'll quickly mention the second of the bullet points there, report with Copilot. So in 32.1, we already had report with Copilot, but the feedback around that was all, well, I need to add those groups in. So I need to group transactions by customer or by supplier, and I would like subtotals in there. So that was added to that report with Copilot in 32.1. The other big change was the payment reminder and the ability to automate that as well. So we're, again, evolving the debt management and how it can support you with that. So that's what we're going to run through now very quickly, give you an idea of what that looks like and how it works. So we'll go back to my screen, and we'll go into customers, and we'll access the Copilot Insights. Let's give that a moment to load. And then it's this area here that we want to access the debt management option. Now it's telling me, just as again, top level information there, I've got 2 sales invoices worth this amount which are overdue. Now it's not telling me at this stage that I've got an invoice which is approaching its due date. So just to show you how quick that will be, I just go to invoices and credits, and I'm going to quickly raise an invoice just so that it's due within the next few days. So it doesn't really matter who it's for. We'll just choose this ABS Garages, and we'll pop a product invoice on. I'll change the date. So we'll just say that was on the 1st of January, and I'm going to say the due date is, and I want this to be picked up. So I'm going to say that I'm going to change it slightly. Actually, I'll just key in a date. It's just going off the side of my screen there. So we'll say let's say the 26th of January 2026, that's going to be due. And I'll just quickly save that. Just get rid of that message to stop it popping up as well. Now, it wouldn't detect that invoice just at that point. And the reason for that is I haven't updated it to the ledgers. So it's not, when you're using Copilot, it's not looking at my invoices list. It's actually looking at transactions that are essentially committed to my accounts. So if I highlight that one, I will update it to the ledgers. I'll just preview that and then cancel out of it in a second. So that's now updated. That will be reflected in my customers. It'll be reflected in this balance here. But if we go back to Sage Copilot now, so it's now telling me I've got 2 sales invoices with this much or overdue, and I've got another invoice now. So it's picked that up straight away. So I've got another invoice which is due in the next 7 days, and obviously the value. So I'll pop into debt management. Now, when you access this, it will bring up these sort of prompt screens. Now you get a similar experience if you use the bank feeds option in Sage. So I always think it feels a little bit disjointed when you first access it. So just because these messages pop up when you switch between screens. So you do have the option to hide that if you want, but I'm just going to click continue. Now in here, it's got some information at the top. It's got some two tabs. So 2 invoices which are overdue, and that one I've literally just entered there. If we just go to upcoming, it's got that one listed. Now, if we just pick on this one as an example, now it's got the transaction number on there, so I could click that to view the transaction details. I've got the link to the actual customer account as well. Now it's telling me no reminder has been sent yet. I've also it's explaining as well that this is the days until it's due, so 3 in this case. Chase history, if I click that, doesn't list anything just yet. Nothing has happened with this one. Haven't done anything about this one about to become due. But let's say I want to chase this one. I just want to prompt that customer, give them a bit of a reminder that the invoice is due in the next 3 days. So I've got an actions option. What do I want to do? Do I want to generate a statement? I just want it to remind me later. I don't want to take any action just yet for this one. But easiest option, I want to compose a reminder email. So give it a click. Now, this is the vast majority of this is already done for you. So I don't really need to do anything at this stage. It picks up the email address from the customer's account. It's got a subject line which it will add to the email. So I can change that if I want to. You just click in and you can type other information in there. You've got access to different data fields as well. So if I wanted to include other information in the subject line or even in the body of the email, I can easily do that. Now you can draft with Copilot if you want. So if you want to change the style or the wording or the length of the email, you can do that. Or you can just do it manually. So you can generate the email. It's going to say dear, and then it'll pull through the customer name from their record. So it's personalizing that email. So just telling me there's a reminder that the balance of, I'm going to pull through that outstanding amount is due by, and then it will attach the invoice to that as well. Now all I would do with that point, I'm just quite happy with that. Click send, but I could make changes to that if I wanted to. Telling me the email has been sent successfully. Now, the vast majority of our users will integrate with Outlook. So just one word of warning for that. If I had to bring up my Outlook, where is it? There it is. Just opening on my other screen. So just bring up let's get rid of that one there. If I bring up my Outlook, just as an example, we'll not go into it, but you have, if you're using the up-to-date version of Outlook, you'll have the new slider in the top corner there. Try the new Outlook. Now you can't integrate with that one. That's something to be aware of. So if you're trying to output emails and you've selected to try the new Outlook, it doesn't integrate with that yet. You need to be on that sort of classic, as it were. I'll just close that down for now. But that would have been it done. Now, it means that you've got full control of that. You can do whatever you want. You can choose to pick and choose what you want to send, and again, the wording of that as well, how you want it to look. But we'll go back to the Copilot Insight and back into debt management as well. So that one, if we go back to the upcoming, it will now say, right, well, the chase status, the due reminder, lets us know that that's being sent. And I can click the chase history and I can see the date and time when that reminder was sent. Now that's great for, you might just have a few. If you've got loads of these and you think, right, well, that takes up a big chunk of my time. And actually, I would just like it to be done automatically. And this is where the automated reminders come in. So it's a very similar process, but all you're doing is you're setting up the scheduling for this. So I'll go into that area just as an example, and this is what it looks like. So you've got 4, I suppose if you think about that sort of that timeline of when an invoice is either about to be due or overdue, what would that look like in your credit control cycle? So do you send in sort of that due reminder like we've just sent? When do you send it? Do you send them a reminder when it's overdue? Do you send them a warning one? At what point? And do you go beyond that and like a threat of legal action if it's still not paid? So there's 4 sort of stages that you have available. You can customize the templates. So that upcoming one, a little bit different when you send them automatically this time. First of all, you've still got much the same sort of layout here. So you've still got where it's going to pick up an email address automatically. You've still got a subject line. You've still got the message itself for the email. The bit that's different is this sort of scheduling area here. So you can say, right, well, the reminder, in this case, I would like to be sent, let's say 7 days before it's due. That's the default. You can change that if you want to. Depends on your credit terms. You know, you might send it 2 or 3 days before it's due. It's entirely up to you. You can set almost like a criteria as well for the value. Do you chase all invoices, or do you just chase them and send these emails out if it's above a certain amount? And also, if you are going to send it out automatically, do you want this account status to change? Now, if you're not familiar with the account status option in Sage 50 accounts, there is a webinar recording on that one. Not very often we run that one, but there is a webinar recording on changing the account status and what you can do with it and how you can use the status to limit what can then be done on the account. You might change the status and say, right, well, actually, you know, I'll leave the account open, or I'll choose one of the other status options. You might have set your others up. You might have it at overdue status, and attached to that overdue status, it might automatically put the account on hold, just so that prompts or people are prompted if they try and raise another invoice against this one. So you've got a number of options with that account status, but this is the scheduling option. When do you want that to happen automatically? And then it would just be a case of save and close. You've got the other options, which you can switch on. Again, you can customize the templates for each of those. If you want to change the wording or anything like that, you can easily do that. And it just means that as soon as it hits that point in time, so let's say this one, it's 7 days before the due date. So as soon as an invoice hits that point, this will automatically fire out the email for you. So other than setting up the scheduling and the wording of the templates, making sure they're right, it's just a task that's taken out of your hands. So you don't need to. You can come in at any time. You can change the scheduling. You can switch options on and off. It's entirely up to you. So have a bit think about how long that how much of your time that task would normally take up. How much would you benefit from having it sent automatically? Again, you'll find a lot more information about automated payment reminders. You'll find that available from our help center if you want the additional information there. Right, let's head back to the slides. If I can find the right option, there we go. So what's next for Copilot? Well, nothing concrete that I can tell you at the moment, but get involved, have your say. You may have been on our webinars before when we talk about what's new or features that are fairly new, and we always say, get involved, let us know what you think. You can access the ideas portal for Sage 50 accounts, and you can submit your ideas. You can see what other people have voted for. It's really simple to access that. If I just go back to Sage 50, and from Sage 50, I'll just access the home page, top left. It'll bring up a page similar to this. It might vary the way it looks and what information is there, depending on your version and, of course, your screen resolution. Got mine set really low today, just so everything looks really big. But if we just scroll down that page that's there, you've got the roadmap option. Now, the roadmap option gives you access to 3 key areas. This one here, which will outline the features that have already been delivered in the released versions. We can see what's coming next, and also what areas we're working on going forward. But also you've got this option here, have your say. So if I just click that, it will take us specifically to an area of the Community Hub page. And this is where you can get involved. So you can see what has been suggested. You can vote on that as well. You can see the popular ones. So which ones have the most votes? The more votes these options get, the more likely they are to be included going forward and developed for your software. So don't just sit there, let us know, get involved. There's no bad suggestion. The only bad suggestion is the one you keep to yourself. What would you like to see? It doesn't have to be just for Copilot, it's all areas of Sage 50 accounts. So I have included that link, but again, as you've seen, nice and easy to access that should you need it. If you've got any final questions, please pop them in there just before we're just about ready to wrap up there. If you think of any afterwards as well, you can always you can always get in touch. You can reply to any of the webinar emails you've got. If you specifically need to talk to someone about Copilot or using it, then do just get in touch with our support team in the normal way. But any just generic questions, just reply to any of your webinar emails and we'll try and pick those up for you. I have included some information on the slides about the Community Hub. So if you do want to get involved, free to join. There's about, we got the stats there, 8,800 accounts professionals connected and supported each other last year. It's not just advice from Sage. You might be after generic advice on just running your business. You might want to offer advice. You might want to answer questions or ask questions about your software. You can do that. So get involved. Now that brings us to the end of today's session. I haven't got any outstanding questions just yet. So let me quickly thank you for coming along this morning. Hope you've enjoyed it, giving you a little bit of an insight into Copilot. Maybe encouraging you to give it a go as well if you want already. There will be a little survey pop up as you leave today's session. It's always the same survey that we issue. So let us know what you thought about the webinar, topics you'd like to see covered going forwards. If you've got any thoughts, ideas about how we could improve the webinars or the service we offer, pop it on there. Your follow-up email, which will include a link to this morning's recording, a link to our registration page so you can get signed up for other webinars, and also so you can access our recordings. That email will be with you in round about an hour's time. So I'll give you 2 minutes of your time back and we'll end the webinar just at that point. Otherwise, if you're not signed up for this afternoon's year-end session at 1, hopefully we'll see you on some other webinars next week or very soon. Many thanks, have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on our webinars very soon. Many thanks.